I tell you what, the way Staff Sergeant Washington sang the national anthem, I tell you, didn't it just rock you to your core?
Yes.
Made me want to get out there and want to fight somebody. All right. Welcome to this Yellow Ribbon event. Before I begin, I want to thank the Yellow Ribbon leadership for this opportunity to speak with you this morning. It is good to see so many guardians of freedom and justice, being this nation's sword and shield, who remains right now to continue to navigate towards transforming for the future. I've served in the military more than 38 years. I've traveled to many places around the world via airline flight. Before I take any airline flight, I start packing the day before based on my previous experiences on what I think I need. My carry-on is valuable, and I try to stuff it to the maximum. When it can't close, how many of y'all want to show hands try to do the same thing? You try to hack it as much as you can. And when I'm trying to pack it like I'm doing, I try to close it, it doesn't close. So I institute different measures. What I'll try to do, push down on it. If it didn't work then, the next thing I would do is try to fill it. And when it doesn't work, frustratingly, I have to end up taking some things out. Well, it's the same way we do things on this airline flight called living life. Our experiences influences our decisions or choices, which sometimes cause us to overpack. In my case, overpacking was isolation, quitting, not believing influence have impact, and not getting medical checkups. These items were in my luggage and it would not close. Some of you may have similar items or different items, but the approach is the same. We must reevaluate and then unpack, which is the topic of my keynote speech. Check your luggage. Check your luggage. Everyone in the crowd, here's where you get to participate. When you hear me say, if this is in your luggage, what are you going to do?
Check your luggage.
No. You're going to say, take it out, but I like the premise. All right? So even if I don't mention it and you have a different item in mind, you're still going to yell, take it out. So let's do a trial run. If this is in your luggage with a real loud voice, what are you going to do?
Take it out.
Oh boy, y'all really loud this morning. I tell you, thanks to the MCs. I went on numerous deployments while on active duty and in the reserve. I enjoyed most of them. And here's what I realized. A tent can be so small and so big at the same time during deployments. It was small because of the personal space, because it was limited to your cot area. There was an occasional disagreement, but everyone learned wanted to resolve it quickly because we knew our lives were in each other's hands. I worked in transportation, and the work tempo was very high. I often worked 12 to more than 20 hours a day, and when not in intense sleeping, I learned to sleep anywhere, on concrete, dirt, vehicles, and in all types of weather. The hit became big, being alone in my thoughts. I was at an impasse. I wanted to go home, Mr. Walsh, to see if everyone was all right, but not go through the emotional trauma of leaving them again. I chose to stay deployment ready by keeping my family and friends, by isolating myself mentally and physically. I didn't stay at a family and friends gathering too long. I acted like I had other things to do, other places to go, in an effort not to offend anybody. I didn't talk too much about the Air Force, because I did not want to be the center of attention. I would let most of my calls go to voicemail, and I often did return phone calls. I would turn my lights off in the house and sit in the dark so people would think I'm not home. I was single at the time. My family knew something was wrong and asked me several times, but I would never tell them. I surmised that they would not understand. This went on for months. My mother, who never said anything in the past, one day asked me when I was going to come back home. She said I was here, but not here, and she asked why. Finally, I told her I did not want to make the emotional transition of leaving and coming home again. She understood, but it was a very difficult conversation, Gary, for me to have with her. I told my dad to, which was easier because he was prior military. Afterwards, it made our relationship stronger when I told them what the problem was. Afterwards, they gave me the space that I needed, which made me reach out to them more. I was so focused on isolating myself, I did not realize I was hurting those close to me. When I got married, the challenge for me was to tell my wife what was going on and to reestablish roles and finding out where she put my items when I left. Remember this acronym, UNITE. The acronym UNITE. It means unity negates individual traumatic experiences. Unity negates individual traumatic experiences. Sterling K. Brown said, empathy begins with understanding life from another person's perspective. Nobody has an objective experience of reality. It is all through our own individual prisons. So, if isolation, this, is in your luggage, what are you going to do?
Take it out.
All right, let's take it out. I was a South Carolina State Trooper. I was in a reserve and a single parent. It was tough, but I had a good support system to help me take care of my son Maurice. One night, I got behind a vehicle, crossing the center line several times and driving slowly. I thought it would be like any other traffic stop. I would put the blue light on, he or she would get out, I would write the warning, the ticket, rinse, recycle, and repeat. I activated my blue light. The driver did not speed up, but kept on driving. I said to myself, maybe they're going to wait for a safe place to pull over and I would transact business. After a mile in several safe spots, the vehicle kept on driving. I activated my siren and my top-down lights, but the man, not identified, did not pull over, nor did he speed up. I was getting ready to call for backup when his right turn signal came on. He slowed down, turned into a yard, and pulled very close to the back porch. When I got out to approach the vehicle, he got out quickly and he stood on the porch. I asked him for his license and registration. This man was 3 inches taller than I was. He was about 50 pounds heavier. He was nice and polite. He said, "How are you?" I said, "How are you?" He said, "Fine." I said, "Okay, you were across the center line several times, about 2 miles back, and I need to see your license and registration." He said, "Okay," gave it to me. Asked him where he was coming from. He said, "Coming from a little club." And while I was talking to him, I smelled a strong smell of alcohol on his breath. So I asked him a question. I said, "How many beers or alcohol you had to drink?" And he gave me the golden words, "You never tell a state trooper." He said, "I had 2 beers." I said, "Okay." I did a couple of tests on him, and he did not pass any of them. I told him, "You're under arrest for driving under the influence." He said to me, "Since I made it home, why don't you just go ahead and let me go?" I said, "No, I can't do that." He said, "You sure?" I said, "Yeah, I'm pretty sure." And he said, "Okay." He said, "I'm on my porch now." And then when I was talking to him, he opened his back porch door and kind of stood in there like this. And I got close to him. I didn't have my bulletproof vest on. Because it was South Carolina, summertime, 90 degrees. You don't know how it is, right? It was really hot. And I said, "Okay, come out here, let's talk a little bit." He said, "No, that's it. I'm going to my house. And if you try to follow me, I got a shotgun back here. And I'm going to shoot you." He opened the door, and there it was, a shotgun. And I thought about if I grabbed my 40 cal to pull it and he got that shotgun up, there was going to be a possibility of us both hitting each other. So he grabbed that shotgun so fast, I had no choice. I jumped on him like a jaguar and wrapped around him like an anaconda. He took me inside the house. We went from wall to wall. He ran me into one wall so hard, I think my imprint of my vertebrae and my shoulder blades are still there. And he was running me back and forth. So for the purpose of this crowd and being YouTube friendly and Facebook friendly, I can't tell you what he said. But he said something like this: "Please release me, let me go." I'll keep holding on. He had the shotgun in the air like this. He was trying to pull a trigger, and I was wrapped around him like this. And he ran me in every part of that house. I was still holding on. And when I was going to my next wall encounter, I saw a picture of this daughter on the kitchen table. And I didn't want to kill her. But I know he was trying to kill me. So I was in impasse. If I did get a shot, it would be towards lower leg and back. He could still turn around and shoot me. So he ran me into another wall, all the pictures flew off. He ran me back into another wall. My arms and everything began to loosen. And he said, I got you now. And he took me into another wall. He almost had me. Mr. McReynolds, he made one mistake. He ran me into the kitchen where there were iron skillets hanging on the wall. And I grabbed a small one. I played Thor, and that skillet was my hammer. When he was down, the cavalry came up, pulled him out of the house. My corporal came. He said, go home. I'll see you tomorrow. My uniform was all tore up. I was sore. On my way home, I thought about quitting the highway patrol. I was only on the job 3 months. What happened to me that night wasn't what I signed up for. But I always knew something like that could happen. It was almost at the end of the month, so I didn't appreciate getting treated like a crash dummy and being broke at the same time. When I came home, I got out of my patrol car, and I noticed my son's bed light was on. I didn't want him to see me like this, so I changed out of my patrol uniform in the car and into my highway patrol PT gear. When I came inside the house, the babysitter left. I read him a bedtime story like I always do. He fell asleep. I sat in the house with the lights turned off. I had time to think. My corporal called. He said, how are you doing? I said, not good. He said, are you planning to quit? I said, yes. Then he told me something that was pretty shocking. He said, most troopers felt like that after their first serious fight, including him. I asked him, why did you stay? He said, this is what I live to do, not do to live. One is a way of life and committed. The other is just a job and involved. He said, which one are you? He said, don't answer that now. We'll know tomorrow morning. I thought about what the corporal said, and I realized that I wasn't making the right decision. I had put quitting in my luggage, and I had no plans to take it out before I spoke to him. I thought about it a little more. I decided not to resign. I went back to work. The next day, my corporal, sergeant, and a few troopers took me out to a place called Iron Skillet to eat. I went on to lead the district in DUI arrests, 3 years in a row and led the entire state of South Carolina in DUI arrests 1 year, with the highest conviction rate in South Carolina history of 98%, 4 years in a row. How does that story relate to this audience? There's going to be times in your life where you're going to feel like quitting. Maybe after a couple of appointments. Maybe your first appointment. Or maybe no appointment. You decide that you're going to leave the Air Force Reserve after challenging experiences. I recommend you wait and put everything on a scale before you make any moves. A cow field, grass looks green and clean until you start walking across it. Harry Preacher Stowe said, never give up, for that is just a place and time the tide will turn. So, if quitting this is in your luggage, what are you going to do?
Take it out.
Let's take it out. My mother died of cancer in 2011. My sister and I had to clean out the house. She had a great can where she had everything she considered valuable in. Going through it, I was surprised to see 2 letters from my squadron commander, from my first squadron commander. And I'll read this. It says, Department of the Air Force, Headquarters, 42nd Bombardment Wing, Air Force, Loring Air Force Base, Maine. It says, Mrs. Smith, 507 South Merman Road, Georgetown, South Carolina, 29440. Dear Mrs. Smith, congratulations. Your son Eric was recently presented the Air Force Achievement Medal. Eric received this award for his meritorious service while assigned to the 42nd Transportation Squadron, Loring Air Force Base, Maine, from 3 July 1984 to 9 August 1985. He was specifically recognized for his superior professional skill in operations, dedication and initiative in performance of his duties. Eric's outstanding accomplishments made a very valuable impact on his present unit, and he contributed significantly to its success. I know Eric will be as successful at his next unit of assignment as he has been in the 42nd Transportation Squadron. Eric truly reflects credit upon himself, his parents, and the United States Air Force. It was a pleasure and an honor having Eric in my squadron. Sincerely, John R. Harley, Major, United States Air Force, Commander, 42nd Air Force Base Squadron. Remember, my mother died in 2011. I did not know this letter existed. My commander sent this to her in 1984, and when she died, this was in her values. Here's another letter he sent. Dear Mrs. Smith, this is 3 July 1985. I'm extremely pleased to inform you that your son Eric has recently been promoted to Airman First Class as his commander. I know his devotion to duty in job knowledge as a vehicle operator dispatcher has earned him this promotion. A most important function as commander and concern myself with your son's welfare and his career. Your son has lived up to my expectations and is a vital part to this organization. Now that he has earned his new rank, he will be given greater responsibility, and additional duties to perform. I am confident he will accept the new challenges to the best of his ability. As you know, we are a unit of strategic air command. Our primary mission is deterrence, provides the greatest hope for world peace. This mission relies heavily on our greatest asset, people. It should be most gratifying to you, as it is to me, to see your son's effort and ability rewarded. Sincerely, John R. Harley, Major, United States Air Force, Commander, 42nd Air Force Base Squadron. These letters wasn't just letters. It embodied who Major Harley was. He was personable and a leader you would want to be your best for. He impacted my Air Force career in many positive ways. Many of my leadership approaches came from him. Before March 2022, he never knew it. In March 2022, I was reading my local newspaper, the Houston Home Journal. In Georgia, they say Houston. In Texas, we say Houston, right? So I had to get it right both times. I saw an old man sitting behind the desk, Mandy, on the front page. I told my wife, Jennifer, that looks like my former squadron commander from Loring Air Force Base, Maine. So I contacted his office. He picked up the phone. We talked and had lunch. I told him how much of an impact he had on my Air Force career, General Gonzalez. He was very surprised. My former squadron commander is now the mayor of Centerville, Georgia. And that's us in the picture. We had lunch, and he made me and Jennifer an honorary citizen of Centerville, Georgia. Life has a way of circling around, and if you think you don't have impact, you will. Edith Wharton wrote this quote: "There are two ways of spreading light: to be the candle or be the mirror that reflects it." If you believe that you don't have influence in other people's lives, and it is in your luggage, what are you going to do?
Take it out.
Let's say it again. Take it out. Let's take it out. I was retiring from the airport. I had an out-crossing checklist to include my final medical checkup. Yep, I had one more blood-sucking event called labs to go through, and I'll be done. So I thought. I didn't get a full medical checkup other than what the military did. So most of the time, I would check that I am good or I am excellent health block and keep it moving. After a few days of getting blood, I got a call from the nurse who worked at the medical group. She said, Chief Smith, your labs came back. The results came back good in most areas. She got quiet. I said, okay. She said, your blood sugar level is 356 and your A1C is more than 14. And it was an echo. She said, Chief, were you there? She said, you have diabetes. I got really quiet. She said, hello? I said, hello? I said, I would like to trade diabetes in for another medical condition because the root word diabetes sounds like die, and I don't want that. She said, you never had any symptoms? I said, no. Like, she said, blurred vision? I said, no. She said, thirsty, hungry all the time? And I said, no, but I have a migraine headache from receiving this news. I asked her, if I eat another bowl of cornflakes, will I check up into that big Air Force base up in the sky? She said, no. She said, you're going to have to make some healthy lifestyle choices and change it. But in the meantime, we'll put your medical hold to the doctors, get your blood sugar and your A1C low. The nurse, at the advice of the doctor, wanted to give me large doses of medication. I told her, I said, no, let's try a much smaller dose. Let me exercise and make better food choices. If after a certain period, if it wasn't working, then I will come back and see if we can go on a stronger dose of medication. The nurse agreed. I went home and everything related to sugar and carbohydrates went out into the trash. Everything was donated. My wife got home, she said, why is everything so empty? I said, honey, I got diabetes and Papa's got a brand new food bag. So we went shopping. In 3 months, my blood sugar averaged 112 with an A1C of 6.7. I lost 26 pounds. I still eat a bowl of cornflakes with a lot less sugar. So here's an acronym to leave you with. Open the door. DOOR. Determination overcomes obstacle resistance. So Booker T. Washington said, success is to be measured not by so much by position that one has reached in life, but as by the obstacles he or she has overcome. So, if not getting a full medical checkup is in your luggage, what are you going to do? Yeah, I'll bet y'all take that out in a minute. Making the right decisions despite unpleasant experiences will ensure that your luggage will hold on your life flight of life. Avoid isolation. Connecting with people helps with the integration and improves problem solving. We may have experiences in life that make us want to quit or give up. Evaluate where you stand, eliminate your doubt and fear, and press forward to overcome it. We have more influence in each other's lives than we think. In some cases, that influence can have a full medical checkup. Notice the picture of the luggage, how it fits. It fits vertically and it fits horizontally. These pictures signify that you can have different ways of living your life. It's okay if it fits. I will leave you with this quote. Don't let naysayers smother your life under the bushel of their expectations. Your luggage, clothes, you can travel. Thank you very much. You've been great.